I'm Barbara O'Neill from Misty Mountain Health Retreat. I'm the health director of our health retreat and I'm a nutritionist and naturopath. And this video we're going to discuss the antifungal diet. The antifungal diet is basically designed to bring about a healing response in the body because the body is designed to heal itself. The body wants to balance itself. So this diet encourages that balance. Because fungus is an opportunist organism, we've got to get the environment right because it loves to feed on waste, so very important to make sure the body's clean and running well. So lots of water to keep the body running properly, and also make sure the colon is running well. A lot of people think that going once a day to the toilet is adequate, but Dr. Kellogg said 3 intakes of food a day should equal 3 evacuations a day. Most people are shocked to hear that. But you have a look at babies and little children, they naturally go like that. So very important that the colon is working well, because not only does yeast love sugar, love yeast, it also loves waste. So we've got to keep that body nice and clean. And that's one of the reasons many people do come to our health retreat, so they can do that detox. So let's define the diet. Fruit. Well, because yeast loves sugar, we've got to get that fruit right down. And the 2 fruits that can be eaten on this diet is Granny Smith apple and grapefruit. Some people say, I don't like Granny Smith apple or grapefruit, so then I say, well, maybe you just eliminate fruit. So all sugars need to be eliminated. So I basically say to people, become mostly a vegetable eater. So your tomato, cucumbers, avocados, lemons, they're all fine because they're not sweet fruits. In fact, often classified more in the vegetable kingdom. So all your vegetables are fine. Some say, what about the potato? Because the potato is quite high on the glycemic index. Well, there is a book you can get called The Garden of Eden Diet by Professor Constantini, who was former head of the World Health Organization Department of Mycology. And he's got a book that really targets this subject. And he says just under the skin of the potato are antifungal properties. So even though it is high on the glycemic index, it's got other factors that come in and make it quite a reasonable additive to the antifungal diet. All your legumes are fine. Your chickpeas, lima beans, black-eyed beans, lentils, and they're very important because the body cannot heal without protein. So very important to have the legumes. Nuts and seeds. The only nut that, well, there are actually 2 nuts that I advise against because they both tend to mold quite easily. One is the peanut. The peanut is well known to develop aspergillus, which gives off the very toxic gas called aflatoxin. The most carcinogenic substance ever to be tested is aflatoxin. Some people are a little bit sad. They love their peanut butter. Well, once you taste roasted cashew butter, roasted almond butter, roasted macadamia nut butter, you will be well satisfied with those. You see, the peanut is not a nut and it molds very easy. One of the reasons because it is grown in the ground. The other nut is pistachios. They've often been found to have a taint of mold in them. Another thing that a lot of people don't think of is black pepper. I was reading of a study that tested black peppercorns and they all had mould on them. It's just the way they dry in a moist environment, I think, but they tend to mould growth. And if you like that bit of warmth on your food, go for cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper does not have the problem. Your grains, I would advise that you cut right down on your wheat, even to the point of excluding wheat. You see, 76% of Australians live in the city, so Australia grows huge amounts of wheat, and it is in the storage that the problem arises. So huge silos storing this wheat. You get a cold frosty morning and a hot sunny day and you get moisture building up in those silos. So wheat is very prone to fungal infestation. So you're far better on your grains to go for your millet, your quinoa, your buckwheat, even go for your spelt sourdough bread. So also with the antifungal diet, you eliminate all yeast, so that's no brewer's yeast, Torrilla's yeast, Marmites, Vegemites, Promites, none of those yeast spreads, and definitely no yeast spread. A great alternative to your spreads can be miso, and another alternative that you can do for your bread is the sourdough bread. You see, the sourdough bread is a cultured bread, and The sourdough bread causes the bread to rise under the action of wild yeast and lactobacillus. As the wild yeast causes the bread to rise and dies off, then the lactobacillus comes in and consumes the waste from the action of the wild yeast. So your sourdough bread, when you're eating that, you're not eating any taint of yeast, and yet when you eat your yeast breads, you certainly are getting taints of yeast. So let me give you a meal. What will we have for breakfast? So for breakfast you might have some sliced tomatoes, some sliced avocado, cucumber, and you might have some red lentils on sourdough toast. For lunch you might have a big green salad with a lovely tahini, lemon and olive oil and garlic dressing. You might have some baked vegetables, then you might have some lentil patties, or you might have a lima bean casserole, something like that. I advise a light evening meal. If you do have anything at night, you could have maybe some avocado and rice crackers, or a bowl of soup, or a salad, or some steamed veggies. I guess it depends on what lunch is. If you've eaten breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, then tea can be quite light. So that's an illustration of the meals that you can have. And I advise have a handful of nuts after every meal. Very small handful, about 8 to 10 nuts is advisable. So this is how you can go a long way to conquer candida or yeast problems in your body.